So the Buffalo Sabers make this super surprising, earth-shattering decision, and the decision is to fire Ralph Kruger, which, let's be honest, really isn't all that surprising. Buffalo fans, you've finally gotten what you wanted. Ralph Kruger is out the door. Don Granato sounds like he's going to take over as the interim head coach. Prior to this, he has no head coaching experience in the NHL. He was an assistant coach for the St. Louis Blues in the 05-06 season, the Chicago Blackhawks through the 17-18 and 18-19 seasons. And he's only been in Buffalo since the 1920 season. And when Ralph Kruger first got hired, this was so unconventional, it was crazy. I mean, this guy was coaching 5 years over in the Premier League in soccer or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So for Ralph Kruger, I was kind of thinking, okay, he's unproven, and a lot of people are thinking, hey, this is the dawn of a new era, an unconventional hire. And then this happens, and this kind of goes to show why the NHL doesn't really like doing unconventional coaching hires. And people, I know they want them to turn over a new leaf and show how progressive they are, and they're hiring all these guys that aren't even qualified for the job. But this is why, it points back to this, and when you see something like this is why NHL GMs want to keep it within that so-called boys club circle, which, am I thrilled about the boys club circle of head coaches in the NHL? No, I would like to see some other people get chances and come up and have a chance to be a head coach, but I can see why they wouldn't want to do that, because Ralph Kruger just really showed why you don't want to make an unconventional hire, because his tenure here, especially this season, was absolutely disastrous. And when asked if he's worried about his job security, not too long ago in a press conference, he said something along the lines of, I'm not worried. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I'm like, duh, of course Ralph Kruger's not worried. He's getting paid like $3.9 million for the next year and a half just to not work for the Buffalo Sabres if he does get fired. And now that he is fired, that comes to fruition about him getting paid for doing nothing. And how the heck did Ralph Kruger even earn himself a $3.9 million contract to begin with? Darn it, this was going to be such a good redemption story. A guy who got fired over Skype from the joke of an organization that was the Edmonton Oilers. Then he goes to this joke of an organization called the Buffalo Sabres, and he's going to make them not be a joke anymore. And it's looking so good the first month and a half of the season in 2019-2020. And then the Sabres fall off a cliff like they do every year when they have a good start. And this year they're just like, screw it, man. We're not having a good start. We're just going to be bad start to finish. And Ralph Kruger, he seems like such a likable guy. And it makes you wonder, wouldn't the players want to play harder for him? Maybe they just didn't like the system he was employing. I'll be honest, I haven't watched too much of the Sabres this year. But when I have, they look really discombobulated in their own end. They just, they look like they're running around and they don't know what to do. They have no direction as far as a game plan goes, and they just get taken to the woodshed on the shot clock in a lot of periods, and we've seen that a ton this year, and this is a big reason why Ralph Kruger had to go. His all-time record in Buffalo through 97 games coached, darn it, they couldn't even let him get to 100. 36 wins, 49 losses, 12 extra time losses. Good old Ralphie boys out the door before 100 games coached with one team, unfortunately for him. And I want to just point out something really interesting too, is that when Ralph Kruger got hired, keep this in mind, the Sabres GM at the time of his hiring was Jason Botterill, and the Kruger family and the Botterill family happened to be good friends. And did Jason Botterill really do his due diligence on this one? Because for me, I don't think he did. I think it was just I'm gonna talk to these other coaching candidates just to show that I'm doing my due diligence. But really, I'm gonna hire Ralph. That's my decision all along because he's my friend. But what if your friend's not good at coaching? Isn't it your duty, your duty to the organization, the Buffalo Sabres organization, Terry and Kim Pegula, to show them that, I'm going to hire the best guy available, not some dude that's my buddy, and I'm going to throw almost $4 million at him, a guy who's got almost zero head coaching experience in the NHL. Or maybe Jason Botterill had some foresight, and he knew he was going to get fired about 1 year later, so he wanted to stiff Terry and Kim Pagula with a terrible coach in Ralph Kruger on a terrible contract for almost $4 million a year, and they're going to have to pay him for doing nothing for the next year and a half. So if that was the case all along, I mean, that's a pretty stiff way to get back at your employer if you're Jason Botterill. Is Don Granato really going to turn this Buffalo Sabres team around? It's hard to tell. I definitely think they should be better than what they are now. They've lost 12 straight. That's a big reason why Kruger's out. For Granato, I don't know, you just got to get the most out of these players. Is Buffalo this bad of a team? Or should they be this bad of a team in the basement like this? No, I don't think they should, quite frankly, to be honest with you. I think they have a lot more upside than what they've shown. They've looked very uninspired a lot of times this year, and when you're uninspired, it really doesn't matter who you have on your team. You're going to be hard-pressed to get wins for yourself. Did I think Buffalo was going to be a playoff team, though, this year? I mean, no, absolutely not in this division especially. But I don't think they should be at the bottom of the league, worst in the league. And at the rate they're going at, they would have been worst in the league by 1.5 miles. The next Detroit Red Wings of 2019-2020. The Sabres are nowhere near close to that bad. A team that has Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, Taylor Hall, and Rasmus Dahlin and Rasmus Ristolainen on it should not be last in the league. They don't have a great supporting cast around them. They have an okay enough supporting cast around them. But they're still not a playoff team. They still have a little bit of work to do to get into the playoffs in the coming years. But like I said, they should definitely not be this bad either. So those are my thoughts on Ralph Kruger being let go. It's unfortunate because, like I said earlier in the video, he seems like a really good guy, but just because you're a really good guy doesn't make you good at what you do. I just want to point out too that Ralph Kruger is also the first head coach to be let go this year outside of the North Division. I thought all the coaches in Canada were going to be let go except for maybe Sheldon Keefe. But for Kruger, he is the first one to be let go south of the border, and that's unfortunate for him. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, especially if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan. I would really like to hear from you. Let me know all that and more. Please like and subscribe and share this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.